And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday, the 23rd of August. You are looking at a live view of Eagle as it awaits its 6 p.m. UTC launch from Space Launch Complex 1 at Freidonia Interplanetary Spaceport. My name is Dark, and I'm joining you from my headquarters in Carson. Thanks for joining us for our Pathfinder 1 mission. This also marks ISX's 9th launch in 2024 and its 32nd launch overall. Now, I would like to apologize for continuous delays of this mission today. It is due to some technical issues with the ground systems. Now, let's talk a little bit more about today's payload. Pathfinder 1 is satellite developed and launched by Daxt and is supposed to demonstrate and test systems and flight instruments
Stage 1 and Stage 2 are pressed for flight.
Future constellation that's currently in development and has a nickname of Aurora. This constellation is supposed to be a satellite imagery constellation to give good quality images of the Earth to multiple sources, for example, meteorological sources or geographical. And Pathfinder 1 has its only mission objective, and that is to demonstrate that all the systems that we have developed work well. For example, our high-definition cameras on board the vehicle, and also our retranslation system is supposed to connect with other satellites in low Earth orbit to transport the data from the satellite. Now, Pathfinder 1 is just the first of multiple missions ahead of the Aurora constellation launch, and ISX is chosen by DAX to launch them in the near future. The contract is still yet to be published by DAX. Now, the weather for this evening is good, and we are go for the weather at T0 with 60% chance of favorable conditions for the liftoff. Vehicles and payload are all green for an on-time launch. However, if we do not lift off, we have a backup opportunity tomorrow, Saturday. Now, let's have a look at the rocket supporting this mission. This mission is the first flight for this particular booster. At 1 2/3 is the first stage. Its objective is to accelerate the vehicle through the Droo's atmosphere to space and separate from the rest of the rocket. On top of the first stage is black carbon interstage. It connects to these stages and houses pneumatic pusher that separates the first stage from the second stage during flight. On top of the interstage is the Eagle's second stage, which will take the payload to its intended orbit. After the two stages separate, the second stage will carry all the satellites to their final orbit. You notice that there is a nose scale. This is called the aerodynamic fairing. Capsulated inside the fairing are all the satellites, protecting them until the vehicle is outside through its atmosphere, at which point the fairing will separate and expose all the satellites that are mentioned today. Now, this launch is very spectacular since we're having a sunset launch. This is the first time this year we're having that kind of launch, and we are not having a usual evening launch. Now, since the T-minus 30 minutes, Eagle has been loading its fuel and oxidizer. The vehicle is bipropellant, meaning the rocket uses two types of propellant. The fuel is liquid methane, and the oxidizer liquid oxygen, called LOX, or LOX in short. Currently, the methane and LOX are fully loaded at both stages ahead of today's flight. Now, this launch is last ahead of the 2-month break we're gonna have, because teams are gonna be now mainly focusing on multiple tests of Skydancer as well as Hawk Review 3, and also on modifying the Series 4 ahead of some more missions we're gonna have. Now currently we're having a tight schedule for launches in October, and you're gonna be loving these webcasts in October, as we're gonna be launching multiple times a week, and possibly even at night. Now, we know you do not see much, but that's because we want you to appreciate how the vehicle looks currently on the pad with the amazing sunset.
Eagle has startup, internal computers taking the control of terminal count.
There we go, we have a startup. That means that flight computers of Eagle are taking over the control, and that the FTS is getting armed for the flight. We're approximately 1 minute and 41 seconds away from the launch. Everything is looking very good. We're excited to have this launch at this amazing time, and me personally, as a commentator and as a staff, I really love these launches, mainly at those amazing sunset views. Now we're approximately 5 seconds away from the T-minus 1 minute mark. And there you have it, T-minus 1 minute away from the launch. Now, we are getting really close to the liftoff itself.
Eagle is go for launch.
I am gonna go quiet in a bit, and I'm gonna let you enjoy the
LD
roar
is go for
of
launch.
Eagle as it's getting ready for the launch itself. Enjoy this evening's launch, and make sure to love what we do for you.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Engines full power and liftoff of Pathfinder 1. Go Eagle, go Pathfinder 1.
Eagle has cleared the towers. Hawk chamber
And
pressure
a
is nominal.
wonderful shots there from Eagle. Amazing views. We're approximately 20 seconds after the launch. Man, these views are always amazing. Now, we are 30 seconds into the flight of Eagle. After this, there's an event we call Max Q. We throttle the engines down to slow down the rocket in preparation for maximum aerodynamic pressure. This is what Max Q stands for. This is the most stress onto the vehicle as it passes
Vehicle
through the
is
atmosphere.
supersonic.
And now, we're having some amazing onboard views. It's gonna get darker and darker, but still, passion from the launch is gonna be there, and you're gonna feel it. Now, approximately in around a minute or so, we are going to be having two events. The main engine cutoff, or MECO. The stage separation where the first and second stages are separated. And a few seconds after that, we're going to have a second engine start number 1, where the second stage will continue its burn to deliver the payload into its intended orbit today. We're having 2 burns in total. One is to reach parking orbit, and second is to reach the final orbit
Max
that
Q.
we're planning on having today. You can see amazing telemetry there on your screens, and we're getting closer and closer to main engine cutoff.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirm.
And there we go.
Hawk back ignition.
With amazing shots from the second stage cameras. And we have successfully passed main engine cutoff. signifying the completion of the first stage's mission. Now, it's time for the second stage to step up. The fairing has just jettisoned, as you saw in your cameras. This means the vehicle is lighter and has also passed the point in the atmosphere which forces are not that big onto the stage and onto the payload. Now, the second stage will carry the payload into its intended orbit. We have received the confirmation that the vehicle is on nominal trajectory, and the fairing will now re-enter the Earth's atmosphere and splash down at the sea. We have a support vessel named Discovery that will attempt to recover the fairing for further use in the next missions. We
Seco.
have had a nominal signature engine burn, and we just had a second engine cut off. Now, with that said, we have a smart orbital insertion confirmation as well. We'll coast for the next few minutes as we prepare for second engine start, or SES2. Shortly after that, we'll begin deploying the satellites into its ended orbit. We'll be back with you after the coast phase, and for now, enjoy the space tunes. And welcome back, everyone. For those who just missed the launch, I'm happy to report that we have experienced a successful liftoff, and everything went as expected. We're eagerly waiting for the second engine start, or SES2, which is scheduled to occur in about a minute or so. For now, enjoy the amazing views from our Eagle second stage cameras.
Second engine start 2.
And there you go. We have a second engine start number 2. Now this burn will last more than 5 minutes, but for now, enjoy the space tunes and, again, amazing views from the second stage cameras. Man, it's just, this job will never get old and never get boring.
Seco.
And there we had a second engine cutoff. With that said, we have a successful orbital insertion confirmation. Again, we'll go ghost phase for the next few minutes as we prepare for pellet separation. For those who are just missing out, we had successful launch and everything went normal. We just confirmed orbital insertion, but we still have some news to share with you. and that is the upcoming development we're gonna have during the 2 months of break time. Now, we are gonna be testing a Skydance. This test vehicle mainly for hardware tests for the upcoming Series 5, which is our next launch vehicle. But before that, we're gonna have a new Eagle Series 4 Enhanced, or Enhanced version 1.2, we like to call it. It's mainly to reduce the weight, test hardware for Series 4, and also to test the new Hog V3 version. This is the version with boost performance, Hog V3++, or we mainly called Hog V3.2, but between our staff it became kind of a joke to call it version 3++. Now this all is to test the hardware for Series 5, which will launch next year from our current paths. And we're getting closer and closer to payload deployment. Now, let's wait and listen.
Pathfinder 1 deployment confirm.
And as you might have heard, we have a confirmation of payload deployment from the Eagle second stage forward section. You do not see much, but you saw that little reflection of part of the Pathfinder 1 satellite. It's quite large, and it's kind of a night launch, so it's not much visible. With that said, wrap up today's webcast to an end. We'd like to thank our customers for trusting us and the 5th Freidonia Space Force Delta for supporting us. Thank you to all our viewers, and have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see you on the next launch in a few months.